After our visit to the Grand Canyon, it was time to finally finish our journey west to California. On our way to our main destination of San Diego, we stayed over a few nights in Desert Hot Springs to see Joshua Tree. Once inside the park, we found the famous Joshua trees lining both sides of the highway, giant rock formations, desert landscapes, and the Chala cactus garden in full bloom. And after a long day of hiking and rock climbing in the desert, we returned home to enjoy the pool and the hot tub fed by the local hot springs. After 3 months on the road heading west, with San Diego on the horizon, and after 10 years of being away from our old stomping grounds, returning to San Diego felt like coming home. We quickly set out to give the kids a taste of our former lives in this city, and to extract as much fun as possible in the short amount of time that we had.
Jack's first sushi roll is going back for more. After a decade apart, we met up with some dear old friends to catch up and watch the sunset. And after we had gotten our fill of city life, it was time to return to the new home that we have found on this journey. Nature and wild places.
There is a rain Things changing all the time. There is a garden growing in the yard. There is a star falling in the dark. Isn't that just who we are? Isn't that who we are? What do you need? We can light up your dark. Whatever you feel's alright in my arms. Everybody loses their way. It's never easy staying dry in the rain. Everybody sometimes. Everybody sometimes.
All right, so that was our trip through Southern California. That took us through Joshua Tree, down to San Diego, and then out east to Lake Morena near Campo, California.
Our first stop on this trip was Joshua Tree. We stayed at Sam's Family Hot Springs, which was an RV park about 40 minutes outside of Joshua Tree National Park. This was a super cool spot to stay at. They had some hot tubs and a heated pool, and everything was actually heated with natural hot springs from the area.
We were only at that RV resort for a few days, and so we just got a couple of days over at Joshua Tree. We went to Cap Rock, it was called, and Quail Springs. And then the second day we went through the south entrance. We went to Chala Cactus Garden, Skull Rock.
The second stop on this trip was San Diego. We were super excited about it. We actually lived in San Diego about 12 years ago, and we haven't been back in at least a decade. So we took the scenic route from Joshua Tree all the way to Bonita Springs, and we stayed in Sweetwater's Regional Park. And it was a super awesome spot to stay at.
Really beautiful.
Really beautiful, well kept.
The wildflowers were going crazy while we were there because it had just rained for weeks before.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, it continued raining for most of our stay there. And so our expectations were really high for San Diego, and we ended up not being able to do quite as much as we wanted. We also, as soon as we arrived in San Diego, came down with a cold, and so that kind of kept us inside for a good part of the trip as each person in the family passed the cold around.
We actually got to meet up with a few of our friends that we had when we lived in San Diego. We went on some hikes and we did some campfires and had dinner together, so we enjoyed that part of it a lot.
We hit up a lot of our old favorite food places, sushi, In-N-Out. We got some Mexican food, did a decent amount of hiking. We went to Torrey Pines, Mission Trails, Sunset Cliffs for sunset one evening. We went and checked out Cabrillo National Monument, which was really nice, and saw the tide pools there. And then we discovered there was a really nice bike park right next to the campground that we weren't sure if the kids were going to be capable of doing, and then they impressed us and they did a really great job at it. They had a lot of fun. All in all, despite the bad weather and being sick for the first week of the trip, it still was a really great time. It was a really strange experience too, being back somewhere you used to live, over a decade ago, and
everything was different.
Yeah, so much different. Also, things that were the same that were really interesting to see. And then we found that we had a really hard time reacclimating to like the number of people in the city because we've been in such remote locations the last couple of months. Being in the city was really overstimulating. It was interesting.
From San Diego, we started heading east to Lake Morena, which is about an hour east of San Diego. On the way out, we actually changed our route and got stuck 2 times, which was interesting. It was a first for us.
We've never gotten stuck yet with the camper, and we got stuck 2 times in tight spots within 10 minutes and had to like back the truck up into a highway to get back out of it.
So we headed out east and we drove through Cleveland National Forest. It was a pretty nice drive. It was very scenic and beautiful. And then once we got to Lake Marina, we were staying at Lake Marina Campground. It's a pretty good spot. It's like very secluded, lots of campers. It's right next to the Pacific Coast Trail. It's a nice, like, secluded campground feel.
Yeah, we've been in a lot of RV resorts and RV parks. It's nice to be in like an actual campground where it's just people camping.
Yeah.
A couple lessons from San Diego. First one is don't underestimate the traffic in San Diego. We got stuck out a little later in the day than we expected a few times, and we paid the price and had very long drives back through rush hour traffic. Another lesson, don't get sick when you're going to somewhere that you're really excited to see, because it'll screw up all of your travel plans. Last lesson, which we already knew, but we learned the hard way again, is don't trust the GPS. Always look ahead on the GPS where it's taking you before you just blindly follow it, because it took us down, the second time we got stuck, what we talked about, took us down a dead end into a very narrow downhill road in the neighborhood. It was a terrible experience. So don't trust the GPS. So that's it for this one. Thank you again so much for watching.
We really appreciate everyone's support, and if you're enjoying these videos and you want to continue following along on our journey, just like and subscribe so that you can see what's up next.
See you next time.